right, it's 8:30. Again, I'd like to start, well, first of all, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And I'd like to, before we do anything, I'd like to read to you from our governor's stay-at-home executive order. There are a number of things we have to do that might be a little different than before, and I'll just repeat them again. Each board member must identify themselves at the start of the meeting for roll call and each time they speak. Board members should only speak one at a time. All votes of the body are conducted by roll call, so each member's vote can be identified and recorded. This regular meeting of NKSD will be recorded. Public participants are invited to speak when the board chairs ask their comments. Public participants are asked to not be disruptive. Public participants must identify themselves before speaking. And of course, this meeting will follow the Roberts Rule of Order. Okay, can we have a roll call? 1 second. Okay, Walt Buller.
Here.
Robert Thompson.
Here.
Robert Jackson.
Here.
John Bruggeman.
Here.
Brian Briggs.
Here.
Don Billig.
Here.
Crystal Clancy.
Here.
And I'm here, I think. So, we don't have anybody in the audience today other than Greg to fill us in on what's happened the last month. Do we have any additions or deletions before we accept the agenda?
Don Billig would so move to approve the agenda. Brian Briggs, second.
Okay, we have Don with Brian seconding. Okay, all in favor, we'll do the roll call again. Walt Buller.
Yes.
Robert Thompson.
Yes.
Roger Jackson.
Yes.
John Bruggeman.
Yes.
Brian Briggs.
Yes.
Don Billig.
Yes.
Crystal Clancy.
Yes.
And I'll say yes. All right. Next we have, look at the minutes from April 21st of North Cooch Area Sanitation District Board meeting. And when we're done looking at it, if someone would give me a motion to accept it, I'll take it.
Brian Briggs moves to accept.
All right.
Don Billig, seconds.
And Don second. All right. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Roll call. Walt Buller.
Yes.
Robert Thompson.
Yes.
Roger Jackson.
Yes.
John Bruggeman.
Yes.
Brian Briggs.
Yes.
Don Billig.
Yes.
Crystal Clancy.
Yes.
And I'll say yes. All right. And then we also have, just for us to look at, we have the March 25th meeting of East Cooch. So let's move in right into disbursements. We have the May disbursements of $68,810.21, including the blanket authorization.
Don Billig so moves to approve the disbursements.
Don, we got a motion. We got a second.
Walt Buller, second.
Walt seconded. Okay. Any discussion? Is there anything out of the ordinary, Kelly, that we should be knowing about disbursements?
No, I don't think so. They look pretty good to myself, and Greg reviewed them as well, and Stacy, so.
Good. All right. All right, then let's make if there's no questions, call for a vote. Walt Buller.
Yes.
Robert Thompson.
Yes.
Roger Jackson.
Yes.
John Bruggeman.
Yes.
Brian Briggs.
Yes.
Don Billig.
Yes.
Crystal Clancy.
Yes.
And I say yes. Okay, moving right along. We have the financial reports.
Brian Briggs, move to accept the financial report.
Brian made the motion.
Don Billick seconds.
Don Billick seconds. Do you have any discussion on this? I have, Kelly, I'm just wondering if in general you could just talk to us about why we're over budget after the first 4 months.
Well, let's see here.
Sure, it's probably timing of billing, but I thought I'd ask anyway.
I don't know that, are we over budget so much as, are you looking at the financial, the income and expenses comparing
Yeah,
the previous year?
I guess it's not, I guess what it is the revenue is just down, huh?
Well, it's from the previous, that's from the previous year, but the budget versus actual,
Mm-hmm.
let me look at that one. You know, some of the flows are, estimated flows are down,
Okay.
so that's gonna make a difference. Some of the capital improvement fund, which is Fund 332, we're showing $731, and you know we budgeted 150 in there. So we've got a couple of different accounts where we've got interest going into them, and it's something that I need to talk with our auditor about.
Okay. So the flows, you can see at the beginning of the income expense budget versus actual that the flows are down, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why our revenue is down, huh?
Yep, and you know, we don't have as many people pumping anymore because of the sewer as well too, so
Okay.
that's down a little bit, 4,000.
All right. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on financial reports? If not, I'll call for a vote. Walt Buller,
Yes.
Robert Thompson, Roger Jackson,
Yes.
John Bruggeman,
Yes.
Brian Briggs,
Yes.
Don Billick,
Yes.
Crystal Clancy,
Yes.
and I say yes. Okay. Okay, next we'll go into old business. First up is the tabled invoice from the City of International Falls for their televising/cleaning of the line from a long time ago. Get that up.
Mr. Chair, this is Don Billick. I would so move to remove from the table the invoice from the City of International Falls.
Brian Briggs, second.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second to take that off of our agenda. Is there anybody want to talk about that before we do a vote?
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is John Bruggeman. You know, I don't feel any better about that invoice since last time we looked at it, and you know, I think maybe we should do is get there's some other issues that are kind of related to that now. After the attorney looked at our collection system, and it might be served better by a committee meeting with some people from International Falls, rather than trying to do something here over the, you know, on the computer like this. It's really, it is kind of clumsy.
Okay. So what you're saying is not necessarily to do with the bill in hand, but just in general, we should meet and talk, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Don Billick. The motion was just to remove this from the table. If the motion passed, then it can be discussed.
Okay, yep, all right, so if there's no other questions on the bill, I'll call for a vote. Walt Buller,
Yes.
Robert Thompson,
Yes.
Roger Jackson,
Yes.
John Bruggeman,
No.
Brian Briggs,
Yes.
Don Billick,
Yes.
Crystal Clancy,
Yes.
and I say yes. Now, John, I think you might have mistaken what this motion was. It was to take it off the agenda, not to pay for it.
No, it was to take it off the table.
Take it off the table, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I voted against it. I mean, I don't think that we're be really well served by talking about this right now.
All right.
Just as soon leave it on the table for now.
Okay, all right. So it passes. Want to make sure. So, before we move on, John, would you like to make a motion or something to establish for us to get together with them, or?
Yeah, I think so. It would be better done in person, a couple committees. I mean, as long as they find some place where people could distance themselves. I just don't, I would like to find out whether the city of International Falls, the city council is, how they feel about this stuff.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this invoice, I have talked to Greg, and he is very emphatic that we should not pay this because this was completely done by International Falls and had nothing to do with the North Cooch Board or the North Cooch District.
Okay.
Well, let me let me add something to this. You have all the information that was televised on that. All that information is in Kelly's hands there as far as the information you can use for that line right now. So it's not something they did that's not going to be useful to North Cooch District. It's something that needs to be done anyway. So I think we just need to pay it. Be done with it.
Crystal plans, I'd like to add, is there any chance the city would negotiate and go like half with us? So neither one has to bear the full burden?
Were you able to hear that?
Yes.
I think what I heard was from Crystal that maybe to share the expense that they billed us for with the city. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Brian Briggs here. I think if you look at it, at the time the work was done, there was like $67,000 worth of work that HydroClean did for the city. And what the city is doing is billing North Cooch for the line that is considered North Cooch's. It's the part of the line that when I was on the city council, we were saying the city owned it, North Cooch saying they owned it. Dave Oberstar had commented to the board back then that he felt that the ownership of that line was North Cooch. We can discuss back and forth over and over again, but the point is, it's our line. It ended up, when it was all said and done, we said that part of the line is North Cooch's line. It needed to be televised. It probably needs to be cleaned. It's our line. I think we need to accept responsibility and just pay the invoice.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Mr. Chairman, there's a report, where it gets kind of dicey is that David Oberstar's report on the collection system shows that North Cooch had been taking care of maintaining portions of the lines that should belong to International Falls, i.e. the line going to the ponds from East Cooch Lift Station 2. Maybe we should sit down and make sure that the ownership issues are resolved first, and that the City of International Falls accepts what our attorney has said. Now, this is about the third time in my memory that we have had to look at this ownership issue, and it never has gotten resolved. And I think Mr. Oberstar's opinion is pretty much matches up with previous opinions we've had. Now, I don't know what we want to do with the, and I was glad to see this report from Overstar. So whatever, that's part of this whole thing too, because there may be some portions of the line that, we've been taking care of that International Falls is responsible for. So there you go.
Stacy, could you read back what our last motion was and what we approved?
Stacy, you gotta unmute yourself.
So, motion by Billig, second by Briggs to remove from the table the invoice from the International Falls. Motion carries, Bergman voting no.
Okay. So I'm getting, it doesn't take much to confuse me, but it seemed to me that we took that off the table, but sounds now like we want to pay for it. Some people anyway, is that correct?
Well, it's taken off the table, so you put back on the agenda, that's all.
Oh, yes, okay. Sorry, thanks, Walt. It's a little early for me. I finally figured it out.
And for
All right.
discussion, for more discussion, if you want to entertain a motion to pay it, I'll do that motion to pay it. That's more discussion.
Okay, so we got a motion to pay it from Walt. Do we have a second?
Brian Briggs, second.
Brian Briggs, second. Any other discussion before we call for a vote?
Yeah, this is Don Dillon.
Yes.
This was done many years ago. I don't know who said that we needed to televise and clean our section of this line. Plus, International Falls did not send or did not recognize or send us a bill for years later. And I do not see that if that line needed to be televised and cleaned, I would have thought that International Falls would have contacted us at that time and advised us that this line needed that work done on.
Okay, I understand that. I had the same concern in general. That,
Mr. Chairman, Brian Briggs.
yes.
At that time that it was televised was 2018. It was at that time when the City of International Falls and the North Cooch Board were arguing over who the ownership of that line. Dave Oberstar back in 2018, I think if you look back, it had made it, Cindy had said to the board that North Cooch owns that line. So, and the city was maintaining that they owned it. And when I got onto the sewer board, we went back and forth, and we finally said, hey, let's get over this. North Cooch owns the line. Done deal. And I think if you look back in the minutes, it would reflect that we said we own the line. Yeah, we weren't the ones that initiated HydroClean to televise it, but to be honest with you, that line is from the ponds to the EQ. We televised and cleaned from the ponds to 53. This is from 53 to EQ. It was something that probably, is in bad shape anyway. If we look at the report, it probably needs work. It's our line. It's $14,000 out of a $67,000 bill that I Falls had at that time. It's our line. We can sit and argue over this forever. It's our line. The work needed to be done, to be honest. Let's just pay it and get over with it and move on.
Okay. Anybody else have anything before we take the vote?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just
Yes.
would like to say that the report that we received from the city on a flash drive and via email, I did send that full report, and it took me a long time, but I sent it to Jason with SEH, and he is reviewing it to see how it is affecting our system. So
Okay.
So he's also using that report. I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Kelly.
Do you have something?
Yes, crystal plans. So I
All right.
understand this, we've now determined that that's our ownership on that section. There's no more debate on that with the city. The only debate is that the city didn't give us prior notice that they had hired a company to do the cleaning. So that's our only complaint, is that we didn't have prior notice. But the work was done and it's gonna benefit us in the long run. We do have.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Anybody else before we call the vote?
Well, this is John Brugman, Mr. Chair. You know, I can vote for it just to get this passed, with reservations, with deep reservations. But, you know, the city as well, when they found out that we had a problem with this, they could have revoked that or pulled that back, that invoice back, and said, well, we'll forget about it now. So anyway, we've gone most of the way on this one. So maybe they owe us something.
Okay. Anybody else?
Brian Briggs here.
Yes.
I think it just shows good faith on our part, because if you look at it, we have to come up with a service agreement for that line, which I think behooves us to be able to come up with some kind of agreement with International Falls, because I'm sure it would be cheaper to use them to do any cleaning that might be needed to do than versus HydroClean.
Okay. I'd like just to state that I was during the time of that cleaning, then I was gone for a while, so I don't know what was discussed for that year. But it was a time period on our board which was a lot of disarray and disagreement, and a lot of that had to do with why it happened as it did. But reality, yes, it has been done, and we are getting benefit from it. And in the long run, I think maybe you're right, Brian. Let's just get it over with. So we'll see what happens.
This is Walt Bullard. I think it's going to be pretty hard to ask for a service agreement with somebody when you owe them $14,000. My thoughts.
That's true. Except only
Terry?
Robert. What did Robert say?
I think we should pay it.
Okay. One other thing before I call for the vote is that one of the concerns was that the bill wasn't very itemized for our share. We're just more or less taking their word for it. But again, it's not that, I guess maybe it couldn't be any more itemized. So
You do have it broken down to 5,563 feet, starting at the manhole on 11th Street, and then approximately 320 feet east on Highway 53 and 3rd Avenue.
oh, it was broke down by that?
Yes.
Yeah.
On your
Yes.
invoice, it's
It's in
broken.
the packet.
Oh yeah, here it is. I see it. Oh, okay. But again, yeah, I seen that, but that was broken down by the city, so it wasn't really broke down by those that did the actual invoicing. But anyway, is there anything else before we vote? If not, I'll call for the vote to pay this bill. Walt Buller,
Yes.
Robert Thompson,
Yes.
Roger Jackson,
Yes.
John Bruggeman,
Yes.
Brian Briggs,
Yes.
Don Billick,
No.
Crystal Clancy,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, we got that done. That only took us about a year and a half. All right. Next on the agenda is the COVID-19 office closure and safety procedures. Kelly?
Just wanted to let you know we continue to keep the office closed and do what we have to do to stay safe. We had hand sanitizers installed down in the plant and also up here. And so we've made a few small changes, but continue to try to do the social distancing.
Okay.
Chair Don Billy, with the governor opening up, taking off the books, stay at home and everything, are we still under closure of offices? What international laws, are they opening up their offices or the county?
I
To
think,
answer your question, Don, this is Walt. To answer your question, the city has not opened their offices as of yet. I think we're waiting for June 1st to see what the next step is going to be to implement that. But we had our meeting last night and we did not open the offices yet.
Okay.
I don't know what the county did, but we have.
and I think the last I heard, June 1st was a date to watch for.
Yep.
But he's still asking if people can stay at home and work to do so.
Okay. That's all you have on that. We can go into the shared service agreement between us and the city.
You have that shared service agreement in your packet.
Yeah.
David Oberstar has looked at it, and he's fine with it.
Okay.
If the board wants to accept it and pass it to the city for approval, I guess you'd probably have to make a motion.
Okay, could I, a motion to accept this agreement? Could I get a motion, please?
Brian Briggs makes the motion.
Okay, Brian makes a motion, get a second.
Don Billy will second it.
Don Billig seconded, okay. Any discussion, any more discussion on this agreement?
Brian Briggs here.
Okay,
I would like to know if Greg has looked at this and what his thoughts are.
Greg, what do you got to say?
I think it looks pretty good. Let me see here. It says in item number 5 that prior to doing any cleaning or maintenance work on the line, it has to be agreed upon by North Cooch and the city.
That's this Brian Briggs here. That's why I want you to comment on that, Greg, because
I think it should be.
you're closer to it than anybody else.
Huh?
This is Brian. You're closer to it than anybody else. That's why I'm seeking your opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good to me, as long as, we follow that number 5, because otherwise, same thing could happen again.
Right on.
Anytime anybody does anything on there, it's gonna be discussed between both parties before anything's done.
Exactly.
Mr. Chairman, John Brugman, I'm just trying to look at it here to see whether there's any prices on here, per hour prices. Is that the way it's gonna be done?
I was gonna say, there aren't any hour per prices on here, and we really don't have anything budgeted under the service agreement. I have flagged it for the 2021 budget, but I'm not sure how costs would go.
Would there really be much right now after it's been cleaned and televised, that one? Is there a lot more that they'd be doing in the near future?
Probably not a lot.
Mr. Chairman, Brian Briggs here.
Okay,
If we don't have hourly rates in there, then I would not support approving this service agreement. I think it's important that we know going into this what the hourly rate we're going to be charged when we ask them to do work.
I agree with that. Anybody else have anything to say on that?
Brian,
I agree.
Don Billy, it has to be, any bill would have to be approved by both parties. So I would assume that if we would deem that the work is being overcharged, we would negate the bill. And where it would go from there, I don't know.
Brian Briggs here. Don, if I hear you right, you're saying that we could approve this agreement because it's going to take both parties to do the work. So at that time, we would then, say, okay, International Falls, what's our hourly rate going to be today? And then we can yay or nay it then, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I can live with that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
John.
Here's another thing. If, will the city of International Falls have the right of first refusal on this? In other words, if we needed work done there, we'd go to the city first? Or if we had another contractor in town that we used, would they, I mean, that's maybe a minor issue, but it may turn out to be an issue at some point.
That's a good question.
That might be a Dave Overstart question.
Yeah.
I can't see where the city would be too upset if we had somebody in town that's doing some cleaning and we had them just go ahead and clean a line that we had an agreement with the city on, because I think there's plenty of work for the city to do besides that.
Well, that's good. I'm glad they had a lot to do.
That's right. We do have a lot to do. We got I&I problems,
Yeah, Yep, I know. I think mainly this is just to cover it in general if something would come. I'm okay with it too, I think, the way it is.
Yeah, it's probably okay.
All right, anything else on this before we do a vote? If not, I'll call for a vote. Walt Buller?
Abstain?
Robert Thompson?
Yes.
Roger Jackson?
Yes.
John Bruggeman?
Yes.
Ryan Briggs?
Yes.
Don Billig?
Yes.
Crystal Clancy?
Yes.
And I say yes. Motion passes. Good. Getting a lot done today. Good job, guys.
Say, Mr. Chairman, can I just ask a question? Now, I'm leaving my screen, the mute off. So, is that the way it's normally done? You're unmuted most of the time, or what's?
Well, that's. If you remember last time we had a meeting, I have a couple different Zoom meetings that I do, but I had an issue with feedback before, or was that another meeting? I think that's one of the main reasons we wanted to put it on mute. Now, as long as everybody is in a quiet environment, it shouldn't matter if you're on mute or not. I guess for each person, kind of go by what's in their environment at the time, huh?
Yeah, I've left my mic on the whole time this whole meeting myself, so
Yeah.
I guess no problem then, huh?
This is Brian Briggs, and I've left mine on the whole time also.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's all right. You haven't been too disruptive, John, so that's okay.
All right.
I think if I unmute, we have feedback.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Next, I guess we're going right into the staff and committee reports. Operators report.
Late, it's Greg Schneider, Mr. Chairman and board members. Last time I mentioned about our DMR QA study that we participate in every year, that we were just waiting for some results to get it back into us from our 5-day waiting period for some of them. And we did complete that, and all of our results for the DMR QA have been submitted to our PT provider, which is ERA. They're out of Colorado. That's where we get all our proficiency tests from, is from ERA out of Colorado. So now we submitted all the results to them. We will wait now until September until they complete the grading, and then we'll get the results back. And like I said before, if we pass or fail, they notify us. And we will be, also they will be getting submitted to the MPCA. So, but all our results are done and submitted to our PT provider, which is ERA. And that's not due, like I say, they're not done. September is when they finish the grading on it. So we got a little time to wait now. But we'd like to get it done as soon as we can. Also, the line that we had televised from EQ to the plant. HydroClean was here doing cleaning for East Cooch. They televised the line from EQ to the plant, and their recommendation is the line looked really good all the way to the approach to the hospital, that entryway into the hospital parking lot there. From there, the plant is about 900 feet that they would recommend that we should clean that. There's some debris and stuff in there, especially from the corner, they said. From the corner here, the frontage road, into the plant, they noticed quite a bit of debris in there. Nothing to the point that it's plugging the line, but there's just stuff laying in the bottom, probably that got washed through over the years. And so I asked them to give us a price on cleaning that 900 feet from the hospital to the plant. And I haven't got that back yet. Also, the compressors in the filter building, they're both back online. The PLC is put back in now, and we are up and running in there with 2 compressors again now. Also, you guys were notified that we're participating in this testing for the University of Minnesota, the COVID-19 testing. And we've already sent in two samples. Pardon? We've already sent in 2 samples to the University of Minnesota Duluth Medical School that were participating in this study, but we won't get any results back for a while, they said, until they start trending stuff. And there's quite a few communities taking part in this. So it's a pretty good thing. I mean, we just box up a sample on Monday mornings and we just ship it out. Also, the end of this month, we'll be getting our flow meters calibrated again. That's twice a year we have to do that to be compliant with our permit, and we got that scheduled for the end of the month. Also, just for your information, all winter we've been running our effluent lift station, pump all our effluent to the river. Now the river's low enough that we diverted that flow directly to the river, so we don't have to run our effluent lift station at this point in time because the river's too low. A couple other things here is our biosolids report. That biosolids report is due to the MPCA at the end of the year, December 31st. But there's also a report due to the EPA, and that's due in February and March, and that's been submitted. That got submitted a little bit late because of what's going on here and stuff, but we worked with Mountain and Company, and we've got that biosolids EPA report submitted to the EPA. That's completed too. We do have 2 summer help kids on staff now, and we're keeping them busy. We're dropping clarifiers and stuff with contact tanks and washing them. Now they're busy with mowing, so we got plenty for them to do. And we have started running the gravity belt thickener again now, pumping sludge out of the secondary digester to the storage tank. So that storage tank is back online, and we got the digester. Actually, we got most of the sludge out of the digester. And now what we got to do is we're going to have to schedule it with hydrogen to clean that primary digester this summer. So we'll be talking with them in the next month or so here and come up with a date to clean that primary digester. That was all approved earlier.
Good.
Yeah, and then one last thing here is our toxicity testing. That's yearly. We're starting that on next Tuesday morning. We're boxing up, or getting our samples ready to send to PACE. Our effluent samples, these jars and stuff we have to fill. We have to also go out into the river and get a river sample. So there'll be 2 big coolers starting next Tuesday morning, sent down to PACE. So that's a 4-day testing thing that we are participating in. And that's a yearly thing. And that's all I have.
Well, that's a lot. Thanks, Greg, for all the info.
Yeah.
You're all right.
Mr. Chair, Don Billard. Greg, did HydroClean have any comments as to what's in that line from the hospital to the plant?
There's just debris in there. They've seen a few chunks of concrete like in there, a couple rocks and stuff. They have the line's 27-inch, so, but they said in order for them to completely televise it with their camera, they have to get them things have to be out of there in order for that camera to be able to go down the line. And they would recommend cleaning it from there, just so you know you're clean. It's good to go. It was kind of hard to tell. There's just debris in there. It could have been washed in. I know we get high flows and stuff. We get sands and gravel into the plant. So it could be pumping from EQ over the years now. And it's on this end of the line. The line from EQ to there, he said the line looks really good. It's really good.
It's hard to believe that just from the hospital to the plant, we've got debris, but from the EQ to the hospital, it's clean.
Well, maybe it's all washed up and pushed that barn. It's laying on the end of the line here before it goes into the plant.
Well, Greg, isn't there a couple of 90s in that line? And it could have been the 90s that would, change things and cause that to happen.
Yeah, the 90s are back just a little bit. That could have caused the problem. They're just recommending that we should clean that 900 feet of it. And then they can finish televising that.
Did you say there was cement chunks in there?
He thought there was. It was hard for him to tell.
Is that something that we'll be able to remove fairly easily?
They'll be able to get that out there, yeah.
All right. Okay. Anything else for Greg?
The only thing I would do is, or would like to say is I comment that Sunday's paper from the Duluth Tribune had a big article about that thing that we're involved in with the University of Minnesota in the testing of wastewater. And I commend our people for participating in that.
Thanks, Don. I agree with that. Yeah, I'd like to thank them for that. That's all. Then let's move to the director's report.
Okay, Greg mentioned that we have our 2 summer help. They started May 11th. You have in your packet the letter of support that went to that Dr. Richard Melvin to do the COVID wastewater testing. And I drafted up a press release and took a picture of Tom and Greg doing some testing, and that will be in Thursday's paper.
Do they have masks on?
Yep.
Oh, good. Good publicity for us. Good.
Yes, they did. Also, Greg took me out and we went on a long tour and looked at all the pump stations, and he showed me certain manholes, and, the way things flow. And so
Good.
now when he points something out to me on the map, I can pretty much relate to it. So
Good.
I know about where it is. So
Good.
and I think
Right.
even one night Brian and I went for a drive, and I'm like, oh, there's pump station number 300. There's 200.
I thought I saw you guys parked down Moonlight Road that other night, guys.
We were looking for a pump station.
Get your mind out of the sewer.
Oh, good one. Good one. I like that one.
And then we're just to let you know, we're receiving a $100 refund from the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust because our actual payroll was less than what they had predicted. So we'll be getting about a $1,000 return.
Good.
And then because we didn't have it on the agenda, I think I must have skipped over that, but I have it in my director's report. An SOC update. I just wanted to bring you up to speed on what's been going on so far. So on April 23rd, we had a Zoom meeting with representatives from International Falls, Wedsith, Terry Murray, Brian Briggs, Jason Chop, Jessica Heaton, and it was regarding the city's I&I elimination plan. At that time, the city did not feel that the December 31st, 2020 deadline from the MPCA was enough time for them to put together an adequate, they're calling it a bridge plan. Their understanding was that they had a year to a year and a half to complete that. So because of that misunderstanding, let's see. Jason and I had a conference call with John Thomas to explain the city's concerns, and John came back to us with an extension date of March 31st, 2020 for the submittal of the final recommendations.
2021.
2021.
I'm sorry, yes, 2021. Thank you. And so North Cooch still has to provide an update by June 8th of, you know, what their assessment plan is probably going to look like, and then the revisions from East Cooch and Rainier. So, and then on May 4th, we had a Zoom meeting with David Overstar to bring him up to speed on what was going on with the city. And a letter was written and delivered to I-Falls and MPCA in Widsith. And then a letter was written to the MPCA asking for the extension of March 31st, 2021, which the request was approved.
Good.
So there's been a lot going on with that, and I just wanted to quickly bring you up to speed.
Thank you, Kelly. That was good info. Thank you. Anything else, Kelly? Is that it?
And the director's report, yeah.
Okay, let's go into new business. Ownership of 5th Street and Flame lift stations.
I was asked to put this on the agenda, and I've been in some communications with David Overstar, and I believe everybody has the map in their packet. Greg and I went out and looked at the lines that International Falls would like to own or take over ownership of. But it would, you know, it's going to have to be a decision of the board. I'm wondering if, you know, if you decide that this is something you may want to do, then maybe you can give Greg and I direction to work with Dave Overstar and or Jason just to make sure that everything is correct, everything is in line before we hand it over. Make sure there's no legal ties or anything like that.
Any questions on that?
Mr. Chairman, Brian Briggs here. I agree with Callie. I think that we need to hold off on this until there's more discussion or at least more information from Dave Overstar and Jason Chop as to their feelings on this.
Mr. Chairman?
John?
Excuse me. Well, to me, it's, I don't know, did the City of International Falls express interest in taking over?
Yes.
Line? They should have owned to start with.
Yes, they are interested in the South Falls #2 lift station to the ponds and the Flame lift station to the ponds.
They want to get rid of those, right? They don't want.
No, they want to own them.
Why? You know,
Greg.
that's what's confusing to me is why do you want to take on more responsibility? I don't get it.
I got a question for Greg. Is the city maintaining those right now?
City's maintaining the flame lift station.
Okay,
We're maintaining South Falls too.
okay,
That's the one they want to take ownership of, and the line going right to the pond. you see the map, that green line going right to
Yep.
South Falls 1. Obviously, we're not gonna give up South Falls 1. That's where all our flow meters are and stuff that we use for billing purposes, but also, and that's the lift station they wanna take over and the line to the ponds. They already maintain the lift station at the flame and that force main, that red line going to the pond. And actually, you can see where the red line and the green line meet there. There's a manhole structure right there that both them lines dump into right there. And then there's one line going across the highway into the pond lift station. But since day one, the city has maintained the flame lift station. And we've taken care of South Falls too.
Now,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman,
Yes,
the issue that had been brought up before is Flame Lift Station. They wanted to get rid of that, the city of International Falls, and give it to the sewer district. But we always said that it more appropriately belongs to International Falls, part of their collection system. So I don't get it that they now want to claim ownership of the flame, or have that deeded. I imagine the property's deeded to the city of International Falls right now. So I don't get it. I'd like to, before we act on this stuff, we got to find out more.
And this letter from David from May of 2018, D&E indicates that he recommends the easements related conveyance equipment to be transferred to International Falls as well. And that's from 2018.
Yeah. Excuse me. Who's that letter from?
It's the memo from Freiberger where David outlines all the ownership,
Yeah, okay.
and D&E are the two they're talking about.
well, and you said that those two in that letter, Mr. Overstar said it should be ours, is that correct?
Yep, if the last line of D and the last line of E, he recommends the easement and related equipment be transferred to International Falls.
Okay. So I guess we got Overstar's opinion on that already.
Yep.
Okay.
I still think there's some, there may be some underlying issues that we want to make sure we've covered all our bases before we give something up, because once we give it up, it's going to be very hard to get it back or make changes. So, if this is something the board wants to look at doing, then I think you should give Greg and I and whomever else would like to be involved time to look at it and make sure that everything is okay before the next meeting.
Mr. Chair, this is Don Billig. I would also agree with Brian that we should have the recommendation of our engineer.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? If not, looks like we'll send that off to have it looked at, is that correct?
We'll probably just do a conference call or a Zoom meeting.
Sounds good. All right.
Sounds good by Brian.
Is there anybody that would like to be involved in that? I would like to call in David Oberstar and Jason and Greg for sure.
I wouldn't mind being part of it if possible.
Okay.
This is Brian. Same thing. I wouldn't mind being involved.
Kelly, this is Walt.
Uh-huh.
Do you think there maybe should be somebody with the city involved also?
Well, we may get to that, absolutely, but I think just to get all the clarification and the legal stuff as far as, us being able to do it with clear title and everything.
Okay.
Maybe just start with us, but you're welcome to sit in on that meeting if you'd like.
No, I don't want
Okay.
Come on, Walt.
Is there anyone else that would like to sit in? John?
No.
Well, Gideon, what do you mean? When is this? Yeah, I would. I mean, if you know, just
It fits in your busy schedule, huh?
well, yeah, it would fit in my busy schedule, but I don't know where the meeting would be, or whether it'd be online like this, or what.
It'd probably
So we
be
don't have
online. It'd probably be online, John.
Pardon?
It would probably be online simply because
Okay.
Dave Overstar is in Duluth and Jason is still working at home.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. I'll do it if possible.
All right.
All right, if we're done with that, then we'll move right into the mailbox replacement.
Somebody bought Jerry Jensen's home. There's new ownership there, and the post office will not drive down their driveway to deliver the mail. So they want to know if they can put a mailbox out here by the garage where the light pole is, telephone pole is. But when Greg and I were looking at it yesterday, and I sent Ken Anderson an email, but I did not hear back from him yesterday. But I'm thinking where it would be placed, it would be on the city's right of way, not our property. So I'm thinking that he'd have to get permission from the city on that, not from us.
Okay.
But I don't.
It's not ours, yeah. So you said you did contact the city, though?
Yeah, and I haven't heard back from them, but I mean, if it's North Cooch that makes the decision, what does the board think about letting somebody put their mailbox there?
I think that'd be all right.
I don't have a problem.
I think that would have to be up to the city and the post office. The city has the right of way. The post office would have to put where the mailbox would go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see where there could be any opposition with the city because all the mailboxes that are out there right now in town are on city right away.
That's right.
On
Right.
Boulevard.
Well, even ours is on the city right away, but that's
Yeah.
so that the post office cars can get close enough.
Yeah, but I mean, all the boulevards, that's all city right away where your post boxes are in town, mailboxes.
Yep.
So I can't see there would be any issue, but if you want me to check into it, I can.
Well, I sent Ken an email and maybe he'll respond today, because I think the city has to make that decision, not us. Not
That's
North
not,
Cooch.
Okay.
to me, it's a no-brainer, but
Yeah,
we'll check into it.
okay.
Any other new business, Kelly?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Let's go on to correspondence. WIP funds to be transferred of $24,959.
Can I back up a little bit? One more, Callie?
Yeah,
If you do have correspondence with them, can you tell them, make sure they put in a swing away mailbox? That way the wing and plow can get up underneath it decently and won't break. The county has them, city has them. Make sure they put a swing away in. A swing away mailbox. Post. It'll make it easier for everybody plowing snow and working around it.
and that's the owner that puts that in, correct?
Correct, yep.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Brian Briggs here. Just letting you know I have to leave the meeting to go to work.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
You betcha.
Stay safe.
Will do.
All right.
Bye.
All right. I don't think that WIP information is just for our information. There's nothing to vote on there. Is that correct? I think.
Just information.
Okay. Anything else before we adjourn the meeting?
Okay. Yeah, you guys try to get haircuts before we have another meeting.
Yeah, I know I need one.
Morning.
All right.
Chair, Dan Billick, our next meeting is June 16th, but what time are we going to have?
8:30 again? Are we gonna do it by Zoom?
Maybe we'll see how the cases are breaking out here in town and
Yeah,
what everybody wants to do. I'll probably leave that up to you, Terry.
all right. Well, we can still shoot for 8:30 either way if that's okay with everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well, let's shoot for that, and we'll let you know. Kelly will let you know if we're doing it in person or on Zoom again. How's that sound?
Okay.
All right. Well, everybody have a great day. Meeting's done at 9:30 on the